storm surge, precipitation, coastal flooding associated with all of those. There's also wind that is associated with the impact. And one of the things that we're certainly interested in is how often do these events occur, and how often do the most intense events occur. A few examples of hurricane impacts are coastal flooding associated with storm surge and precipitation and wind, and especially along low-lying coastlines that have relatively low elevation, it amplifies the effect of these hurricane impacts. What it means is that the low-lying areas are more susceptible to hurricane impacts, to the effects of hurricane impacts, than areas that are higher elevation. That also means that areas that are subsiding or sinking due to natural or anthropogenic causes are also more susceptible to hurricane impacts, and those are the areas that we should be looking at. We're also interested in seeing how often these major events, these intense events occur, and what the overall frequency of storms is. And to that, we look at the geologic record and then compare what we see there to the historic record, and use that potentially for information about future predictions for all of those scenarios. A lot of the predictions are calling for a overall either decrease or basically no change at all associated with the overall frequency of hurricanes. But it seems that in the coming century that there is a pretty big consensus about the frequency of the most intense storms actually increasing. And so in this overall declining, reduced number of storms, you're seeing more powerful storms, even though the frequency is less. And those powerful storms are happening more often. And that's associated with global change, with global warming, associated with increasing the sea surface temperatures, and that's where you're seeing these changes. The signs of impact are potentially having a reduced frequency of the overall storms, but an increased frequency of the most intense storms due to global change. And that's important because, obviously being in low-lying areas or areas that are subsiding due to natural or anthropogenic causes, it makes them more susceptible to the effects of hurricane impacts, namely storm surge, inundation, precipitation, wind, and all of the coastal flooding that would be associated with it.